Getting into chapter 250 of Jujutsu Kaisen, it immediately starts off with some exposition about Yuta's domain expansion, and thank god I did not want to try and guess it myself. First of all, it's called Authenticity in Mutual Love, and it selects one curse technique from among those he has previously copied and grants it to the domain's sure hit effect. And the other curse techniques from his stockpile inhabit the katanas in his domain at random, and only Yuta can be the one to draw out that effect, so unfortunately Yuji can't use swords like that. But it's also explained that not even Yuta knows what curse technique will be applied to a katana, and each katana is single use, but the number of swords is unlimited. But before we get into the rest of the chapter, if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe, it really helps my small channel grow. Also, I've made a Patreon and it's in the description below, support me if you'd like. Right, now we're getting right back into the fight, where Yuta goes in for an attack using Shikigami, but they're easily deflected by Sukuna, who still has his hollow wicker basket up. Yuji also appears from the right and gives him a couple jabs which still seem to rattle Sukuna. Rika then appears above him, slamming her fist down on top of him, but he has already dodged out of the way. However, blood seems to spurt from his back, and even he seems to be surprised, contemplating if an unbreakable barrier was placed on those Shikigami that did in fact end up hitting him. Suddenly, Yuta flies in the air and the sky seems to warp around them, linking back to when Yuta copied Uro's technique that basically treats the sky like a surface. Yuta then grabs the sky, staring at Sukuna, who continues to keep up his hollow wicker basket. Sukuna thinks to himself that due to his fight with Gojo, he can't use his domain, and his reverse curse technique is weakened as well. His overall cursed energy output is also the same as Yuji's, and he can't fire Dismantle while using the hollow wicker basket. And goes on to say that on top of all of that, but before he finishes, Rika grabs Yuji and just full on socks Yuji straight at Sukuna.
No curveball, no change up, nothing but fucking gas.
Sukuna looks towards Yuji and Yuta takes advantage of this by appearing behind, and they both strike Sukuna from both sides at the same time. While Sukuna shudders again and Yuji grips his arm, he continues saying that there's another problem. They're both basically giving Yuji room to apply the same technique that worked on Mahito. They're targeting the boundary between his soul and Megami's in an effort to awaken his soul, which was previously submerged, in order to disrupt their physical body's attunement. Basically, every time Sukuna takes an attack from Yuji, his curse energy drops and his physical control decreases. And on top of all of that, Yuta is using the domain to conjure Angel's technique, Jacob's Ladder, in order to remove Sukuna's finger from inside Megami. Both Yuji and Yuta continue their assault on Sukuna, but Sukuna then grips Yuji's chest and prepares to slice him to pieces. But the absolute GOAT Yuta dons the cursed speech technique and shouts "Don't move," stopping Sukuna in his tracks. Yuta then picks up another sword and quite literally breaks the panels of the manga using another thin icebreaker attack. And I'm not sure which technique this is or whether we should call it breaking the fourth wall or not, but this is absolutely insane. Sukuna then flies right back into the warm embrace of Rika, who decks him again right in the face and immediately prepares for another two-fist punch, hitting Sukuna directly and sending him crashing into the lower levels of the weird scaffolded structure they're in. Yuta and Yuji immediately give chase, but Sukuna comes out unscathed and then prepares to fire off another barrage of slices. And this panel right here of Sukuna is definitely inspired by this particular cut in the anime. The hand placement, the crisscrosses, it's 100% inspired. I'm guessing Gege really liked this cut of the anime and wanted to include it somehow in the manga, which I think is so cool. It's very rare you get an inspiration from anime to the manga. Both Yuta and Yuji get absolutely eviscerated while Rika tries to go in for another blow, but Sukuna is one step ahead, grabbing and kicking her before slicing her fist to pieces. Sukuna then thinks that it doesn't need to be harder than that, but unless it makes contact and cuts equal to that guy's attack, it won't deliver a fatal blow. And he's reminded of when he killed Ishigori, which I'm not too sure what this means. I think that the general technique of cleave is that it needs to be touching someone, and apparently also needs to be of an equal strength of the person Sukuna is using it on in order to kill them, which is probably why it didn't finish off Ishigori at first, and Sukuna then had to make it a stronger attack. But I'm not sure, I don't know if it's translated the best, so I'm only speculating. Sukuna continues saying that his output isn't just low because of Gojo, but also because of Jujutsu High's defenses and Yuji's reverse curse technique, as well as Yuta's domain, to which he compliments saying that the sure hit effect is only affecting him and not Yuji, so it's for sure a high level technique. Then, grinning from ear to ear, he asks what they've been doing for the past month, to which Yuji responds saying work hard and persevere, which of course he'd say that, and Yuta obviously says cheat, because most of his techniques and skill is a bit of a cheat. Yuta thinks to himself, however, that if it weren't for the fight against Gojo, Sukuna probably would have healed and wiped them out easily. And Yuji also thinks along the same lines, saying that they're fighting the strongest sorcerer, and if they don't settle this now, then everything's up in the air. Rika rushes in for another attack, and the three of our heroes start to pummel Sukuna, and Yuta manages to catch him in the chest with the sword, to which he says he's fulfilled the conditions for ink. And suddenly he absolutely punches Sukuna right in the face, to which Sukuna wasn't able to dodge that time, so it leads him to question if that was precognition or something. And we see a little bit of our favourite manga-loving French sorcerer, Charles Bernard, apparently watching the fight on a live stream. And this confirms though that the ink technique is his, which is to be able to see slightly in the future. Yuji, Yuta, and Rika all go in for a massive blow, all landing directly on Sukuna, who then seems to be listing off in his head all of Yuta's curse techniques he's used so far, which is Jacob's Ladder, Space Surface Technique, Unavoidable Shikigami, Curse Speech, Precognition, and even questions if he has Limitless, but changes his mind since the 6 eyes are necessary to control it. Yuta then notes that Sukuna leaves an opening when encountering a curse technique for the first time, so he grabs 2 swords this time and charges at Sukuna. First, warping the space around them to cover his movements, then plunging his sword through the warp surface directly at Sukuna. Sukuna, however, catches the blade, but right in that standoff, something unbelievably unexpected happens. Yuta looks at Sukuna and shouts, "Cleave!" to which very familiar slices start to appear in Sukuna's face. But the chapter ends right there as the slices get bigger and bigger, and questions that this is his technique. And we have another absolutely insane chapter where we have 2 of our main characters really putting Sukuna on his feet, keeping him cautious and wailing on him. You can kind of tell that Sukuna is a little bit frustrated at the fact he's got a ton of adversities in his way at that moment, but I'm sure he has something else up his sleeve. I mean, he hasn't even used the black box yet to that point. I also did really want Yuji to say cleave, and I'm still holding on to the fact that Gojo said a long time ago that Sukuna's technique will be burnt into him, but, you know, I'm still happy someone else at least said it. It's now coming to the end of the video, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy you stopped by. My channel is steadily growing and I'm amazed at the support I'm getting, and I also have a Patreon now, so feel free to support me however you like. The link will be in the description, and I will shout out names at the end of each video. Thank you again, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.